Delty from Deltia's Gaming with a fresh haircut, and I want to go over all my builds, just a basic build preview of what's changed in the Thieves Guild, and then I'll probably do more in-depth builds with video and gameplay showing you how to use it. Getting tons of questions. Been working on my baby's room, getting ready for Baby D April 9th. But it's time to go over these builds and give you some blueprints on what's changed, why to use certain skills, gear, and what people are doing and why. You ready? Alright, I'm here in Cyrodiil on Inferno Nugget, my DC Magic Dumber Dragonknight. And I get a lot of questions on the Laceration PvP build. And so I want to kind of go over it, what I've been doing, what I've found effective, and what I haven't found effective. And I'm trying the Vicious Death piece out on the Dragonknight. Now, it seems like a 5-piece Vicious Death isn't really performing that well. I do like the 5 Kraggernacks light, and then 2 medium. Engine Guardian or Bloodspawn, I'm trying to get that down. But I just still play the old style of the Dragonknight in PvP. It's tanky, it lacks the burst that a Magic Nightblade has, but the upside is you have a lot of AoE class specific, allowing you to use dual wield for max spell power, or sword and board for being very, very tanky. So what I've been doing is pretty much the same old build. Shield Assault, instead of, I like the extra bubble that I get charging in. It's stamina based, so it's okay, but don't spam this because it's going to drain your stamina. Flame Lash, good self-heal. It's my single target burst ability. Choking Talons, I like the damage reduction. I'm kind of going back and forth between burning and choking, depending if I want to be more damage aggressive. Dragonfire Scales, Slappers, Deep Breath. I put it on my bar because even one target, if I hit one target, I still get a massive amount of healing. The combination I'd like to do is, charge in, double tap with Flame Lash. That's going to give you a good, powerful heal to start. Talons them down, get Deep Breath rolling. Now, what I've tried in the past is the Unrelenting Morph is just the chains that gives you magic back if you can't pull them too. The other morph is pretty powerful. It bugs out. It doesn't have the range that Invasion does, but the thing I like about it is it gives you an Empower. So what I'm trying to do here is burst about 3 different things at once to have happen along with an Empower. So the first thing you're going to want to do is on the back bar, that's Proxy Debt. Proxy Debt now is still useful on the Dragonknight. If you look at the tools, they have 94. It's not even maxed up, but it scales, and single target is actually really good. 8 seconds duration before it pops, right? So what you're going to want to do is to have this cast. Now you're going to charge in on a target. So you're going to Shield Assault them, whip them a couple times, and then right at about the 3 to 4 second duration mark, you're going to want to pop Deep Breath. That's going to explode after 2.5 seconds. And you're trying to time up 3 things. Your 8-second Proxy Debt, your 3-second Deep Breath, and then Dawnbreaker of Smiting. You can use Leap instead of it, but I really, really like this. It's conal in front of you. It only has 100 ultimate, and it does a monster amount of damage. So that's what you're trying to have happen. If you're using the Vicious Death setup, you really just want to kill one target. If you can kill one target consistently and have them blow up around you, you're going to be fine. But it takes time to learn that, and it's very, very hard in PvP because it's chaotic. You're getting stunned, you're getting CC, chained, pulled, getting hit, you're going to have to heal. But if you can pull that off, it's great. Another thing I like is Igneous Weapons gives you spell and weapon damage, and it gives your whole group that too. And it lasts a very, very long time. Now, if you're playing group, you're going to use this probably primarily. If you're playing solo or small group, I would probably use Entropy, Structured Entropy. The reason why is it's going to give you an Empower. So you could go on your back bar, cast Entropy over Igneous, and then empower your Dawnbreaker as Smiting. Then I have some flex stuff. I have Rapid Maneuvers just because I like the speed. Fossilize, if I'm going up against another Dragonknight who's blocking all the time, or someone's going to Radiant Jesus Beam me down, stun them, and Healing Word. A good heal that doesn't require someone else around me. And I usually put, instead of Rapid Maneuvers, I'll put good old Burning Embers on if I'm just doing solo, because the amount of healing that it does is tremendous. Standard of Might is still pretty good. A lot of people are using Meteor, Shooting Star, and that's flame damage as well. It's a nice burst tool, and it's range. So you can cast it at huge range and then go charging in. So you can do the combo that we did earlier with Meteor as well, and then fossilize a target, stunning them right before it pops to do a lot of damage. Anyways, basically the old laceration setup is still working. Like I said, I do 5 Dragonknights. I do all impenetrable if you can for PvP. Vicious Death, I'm trying to work on that to see how well it's working. Still a little bit undecided, but if you have Willpower Jewelry, Torx Pack Swords, and then either Bloodspawn or Engine Guardian, that's still a strong setup. The strengths is, I'm very tanky. I can do a lot of AoE damage. The downside is it's really hard to master, and you don't have the escapability anymore. Usually on Stam builds, you can just run away and do that. And the Brutal Butcher, the Stam DK PvP, is still the same. Still works very well. So if you like that build, still play that. And that's what I've found effective for PvP. Okay, so we're back on the Magic Dragonknight Laceration PvE DPS. And this is what my typical bar looks like. It's pretty much the same as what we have been using, just a couple minor changes. You got Inner Light, you're going to put this on 1 bar only. Max Magic, Spell Critical. No brainer. The spammable single target ability you're going to use is Molten Whip. PvE, you're going to want to have Molten Whip for sure. PvP, I still like Flame Lash. So that is going to be our single target spammable ability. But you know and love or hate all the dots we got to apply. Engulfing Flames, another no-brainer. Affected targets take 10% damage from all flame attacks. That's huge, 10-second dot. Burning Embers is just an absolute monster heal, monster damage, and it lasts 10.5 seconds. I like to do Engulfing Flames before I start my rotation, and the reason why, I want to get that 10% damage increase to start. I also want my Ardent Flame abilities on this bar, and the reason why is the buff for Molten Whip, including Standard of Might, will give that extra spell power. Standard of Might, no-brainer, 250. It's amazing DPS and damage mitigation. Okay, so the change really is every magic build from now on is pretty much using Elemental Blockade. I like this morph better than the one that blows up. 8 seconds, it's a dot, and boy, does it hit really, really hard. Ignore the tooltip. This is my PvP year. But when this thing is going, you're looking at 5k dots damage over time, along with all your other dots. The downside, it's 8 seconds. So it's much harder to play this build because you have so many dots going, so many timers to watch it, but you do a lot of damage. And as far as self-healing goes, you're really relying on Burning Embers, double casting it if you're in trouble for self-healing. Once the whole duration goes, it's going to heal you. And this thing can heal for 20,000, heal the full type thing. It's incredible. Back bar is pretty much buffs, 1 AoE ability, which you can sub in and out. And you can do some tricks here. You can use a healing staff. And if you're having trouble surviving, you can go with Healing Word here on your back bar and go with the Resto staff. Okay? Or you can go dual wield if you wanted to. And there's a benefit for dual wield. Dual gives us more spell damage. Why do we want more spell damage? Well, proxy detonation. Proxy detonation now is very good for Dragonknights to use single target and or AoE. Reason why is a champion point change, which we'll get to in a second. So, proxy det, you can swap back to your dual wield bar, as Gil told me, and then let it blow up to get the extra spell damage, reapply it, and go on. Another 8-second dot, so to speak, that you're going to want to keep up. Another really good one is Flames of Oblivion. This thing, it's not just a permanently on thing. You have to toggle it now, so it's 15 seconds. But this is a juggernaut damage over time effect. And sometimes it's my most damage-producing thing besides Elemental Blockade. So you're going to want to cast that on your back bar, go to your front. And it's a 15-second duration. So you're starting to see all the things we're going to have to do and apply. And then Eruption, another really good damage-producing dot that lasts 18 seconds. So it's a longer duration. It has some good range, and it does damage every second. And then Igneous Weapons. Reason I like Igneous Weapons, it gives me and my party Major Sorcery and Major Brutality. So those things are really useful and last 39 seconds. So you don't need Entropy unless you want the Empower or a Spell Power Potion to free up another spot. And then a Flex spot. Healing Ward, you could go with the Destruction Staff and have an ability, Elemental Ring, Fire Ring that you can cast over and over and over. Or you can even do Elemental Drain on single target fights for spell resistance and getting magic back. A lot of different things you can put in here, but this is the basic. I have Shooting Star on my back bar. Reason being is sometimes it's useful to have a stun, whether you're doing Maelstrom Arena or PvP. Getting the ultimate back means getting resources back, and it also, just having it slotted, it's going to give me some resource regeneration. So really you're going through and applying a million dots. 1, fire damage. 2, the heal. Blockade of fire, the AoE in front of you. You got eruption here, and don't forget, proxy detonation blows up once, but consider it like a dot. And then flames of oblivion. So that's what, 6 dots? It's not easy to play. It's complex. It still is very powerful, but very complex. If you need some range, go ahead and swap out Lava Whip for Force Pulse. And as far as gear goes, Scathing Mage, for those that don't know, you can get in Veteran ICP. And it seems to be best in slot now. Because your whip can proc this, and it's almost, 500 spell damage for a 5-piece and a whole lot of critical, and you can almost maintain 100% uptime. You can get this in ICP, Veteran ICP. I've deconned a full set of this before because I didn't think it was ever going to be good, but I got it updated, and that makes it a juggernaut thing to use. If you don't have this, what should you use? Well, the good old Julianos is really good. Twiceborn Star is also good. I prefer Julianos, all Divine's traits, with the Thief Mundus Stone. 2-piece headsets. I've tried Valken Scoria, and it's okay. It looks fun, and it does a lot of damage, but Narayaneth, there's some evidence that is actually better. The Lich Crystal set from Crypto Hearts. So run that if you want. And then Willpower Jewelry is what I run. I got Vicious Death on for PvP, but right here, all Arcane, all spell damage, or in some recovery is what you're going to need. And so, as you can see, this is pretty much the same standard build that we've been running, except a little bit of change with Inner Light and Elemental Blockade. You're also going to want the Maelstrom Staff if you can get it, not a crafted one. That's going to really pump up your damage with all of Element's light attack leaving. As far as champion points change, there's a fellow by the name of Asari that did a really good detailed analysis of how to spend champion points with the patch updated. I have it on my champion points guide. I will link it into the patch notes. And so that's what I refer to for this person. So for PvP, I like a lot of in the Elemental Expert because it's magic damage, flame, frost, shock. So flame is almost everything we do. Magic damage is proxy debt. So I really, really like pumping this up. Elfborn, crit damage, really nice. Blessed, I only use this for PvP, just so I get a little more self-healing. But in PvE, I'm seeing a lot more damage coming from Thaumaturge, or Thaumaturge, whatever you want to call it, versus Elemental Expert. So play around with it. I don't know what the ideal setup is, but for me, a simple one is doing a 3-way split between Thaumaturge, Elemental Expert, and Elfborn for PvE DPS, and that seems to be producing results. If you want an expert, detailed, mathed out analysis, check out the link on my page for Asari's detailed guide on CP. And then most of the stuff is staying the same. Arcanist and Magician. So if you want to pump up Magician, is probably the best for PvE, though I like the regeneration in PvP. And PvP, I still have a little stamina regeneration and a little CC break dodge roll cost. Moving on over here, I do pretty much the same. Hardy, Elemental Defender. Thick Skin is very valuable now, so you might want to check and change this CP setup up a little bit. Quick Recovery is very, very good for self-healing. I like the passive. I really, really like it. But you're going to want to put some points into Resistance if you're talking about just PvP. Maybe 20, 30 points, and then do a 3-way split between Hardy, Elemental Defender, and Thick Skin would make you pretty protected. A fellow by the name of Crown has a good detailed guide on CP. I will link in the description as well. So that's pretty much the PvE Dragonknight. I've also had some success doing PvE Dragonknight healing. I know that sounds weird, but Trinamax is a powerful set. 20% chance when you cast a shield to call down a fragment. Well, a shield on other allies. Turns out that Igneous will actually proc this. Igneous weapons. So the Dragonknight don't have repentance, they don't have spear shards, so they're low on stamina returning to other players, but they can actually pure pound for pound heal very, very well. And what I've been using is Combat Physician, which is when you heal someone, creates a damage shield, and then Trinamax. Now the damage shield produced from combat won't proc Trinamax, but both of them together make a really powerful healing build. So a 5-piece Trinamax jewelry, 5-beast combat physician, which you can get an ICP, and the Dragonknight healer is a juggernaut. It really, really is. Last but not least, Dragonknight tank. I know you guys like the T7 build and want an update for that. Okay, so the other day I tanked, what is it? Dragonstar Arena. So I think Dragonstar Arena, I don't know where I'm at on here, probably pretty low. Oh, the Butcher. I tanked it on my Orc and did pretty good. Not the best, not the worst, but I like the offensive Dragonknight tank build. And so some of the things that I use now, I use Draw Essence. Instead of Draw Essence, I use the other morph, which is basically an AoE interrupt. So I use that. Instead of Burning Talons, I use Choking Talons as an AoE control mechanism and Minor Main. I don't use Reflective Scales. Instead, in PvE, I use Absorb Magic here. And the reason why is the Reflect stunning the mobs sometimes prevents me from chainsing them in. So that's how I would do that. So my typical bar is something like this. I have an Absorb Magic on here. I have Unrelenting Grip, which is the nice chains that pulls targets to you and refunds your magic. So I have that there. I will have your typical Talons right here, and then my physical taunt. Pierce into Pierced Armor. Now, this ability you can get flexible with. If you are playing a stamina-based build, I like Vigor as my self-heal here. Resolving Vigor. So my Orc, I'll use Resolving Vigor. On my magic-based Dragonknight, I will use Draw Essence or the other morph for the AoE interrupt. As far as the ultimate goes, you really need Aggressive Warhorn as a tank. People want to do a lot of damage as tanks, and that's really good, and it's hard to do. But if you, as a tank, can do your job, controlling aggro, controlling mobs, and popping Warhorn when it's available for boss fights, that's how you help your team out. Aggressive Warhorn, gotta have it. So the back bar is more of the same, utility, control, and helping out my teammates. Ironically, a lot of people don't think to use Engulfing Flames as a Dragonknight tank. I do. Why? 10% additional damage from all flame attacks. If you're playing with any magic build and almost any stamina build, this will buff their damage. Why? Most stamina builds are going to be using Volley morphed into Scorched Earth. Guess what? Flame damage. Almost every magic build is going to be using Shooting Star. Guess what? Flame damage. Almost every magic build is going to be using Elemental Blockade, heavy attacks. Guess what? Flame damage. So, ironically, I will put this on and use the crap out of this, in fact, in PvE tanking, as weird as it sounds. Now, you're going to want to have, for the best possible build you can have, and we'll get to gear in a little bit, you're going to have to use this ability. Dodge, Chance, Shuffle, Remove Snares. It's nasty, it's beautiful. And then Igneous Weapons, I use this as a tank to free up some of my DPS ability slots. And then you get a flex spot. So I like Heroic Slash for the ultimate regeneration and the damage debuff. It's single target, so it's not going to be like the other one, but it's fantastic for single target. And then another flex spot. You can do a lot of different things here. Add some damage with Burning Embers. You can do Green Dragon's Blood for a magic-based heal, but you really need to have a source of major resistance. Physical and spell damage. Okay, so Spiked Armor. I like the damage on activation one here, Volatile Armor. It seems to get mobs' attention. So I'll put that on. Now, on my Orc, what do I use? Well, I use Unstoppable here. That's going to give me the same buff. So you're going to need to pick one or the other. Magic-based build like my Dumber, I use Volatile Armor. Stamina-based, I use Unstoppable. That's going to give me my major buff. So you got a lot going on here. You need at least to keep up your Volatile Armor, your Shuffle, and Igneous Weapons when you need help with other people. So you're going to have to maintain Taunt. Your AoE control ability is Talons, and Draw Essence or Deep Breath for a ranged interrupt, and you're just chainsing in people, taunting them, and using Warhorn when it's available. Why is Warhorn on my bar? Aggressive Warhorn. Now the other thing that I take, just in case I really get in trouble, is Ferocious Sleep. Ferocious Leap gives you a really nice damage shield, and it's low ultimate cost. So let's say, everything's about to go wrong and I just need a quick grasp of resource. Boom, Ferocious Leap. Okay, so that's all there is to the Dragonknight that I've found in this update that's useful. I will be going over these builds in detail, but I need to play them more. I need to talk to other players about them, and I need to continue to tune it, get some video. So this is what I've found so far, Thieves Guild Dragonknight. Let's move on alphabetical order, Nightblade. I'm not the best Magic Nightblade in the world, far from it, but I think I do have a good, decent build for Magic Nightblades. I've got 535,000 score the other day in Maelstrom Arena, and here's what I did, the changes with Magic Nightblades. I think they're probably the strongest group/solo PvE dungeon related. It might be the best PvP as well. So what I did in my build is I swapped in Blockade of Fire. Blockade of Fire, every Magic build should be running. It just does a lot of damage, especially with the Maelstrom staff. I got Inner Light on my main DPS ability. More magic, more crit, happy joy day, happy. Crippling Grasp, good dot. You're going to maintain along with Blockade of Fire. Swallow Souls. I like Swallow Souls when I'm playing solo, doing Maelstrom, because the extra healing received. But in a group play, I'd use Funnel Health, so I'd swap this in and out. Sap Essence, sometimes I put this on the front, sometimes I put this on the back. It gives me my major sorcery, though I will use a Spell Power Potion to start combat, because I want to have it off the bat. And then Soul Harvest. Killing mobs, along with doing Sap Essence, generates ultimate, allowing me to maintain ultimate like crazy. Hey, what's up, birds? And so that's kind of what I do here. I maintain Cripple, maintain Blockade of Fire, spam my Swallow Souls, and then hit Sap Essence for ultimate and for AoE situations. On the back bar, what I do, Proxy Detonation. It's not leveled up, but it hits so hard. It hits hard single target, hits hard AoE, and it takes 8 seconds. So I have it on my dual bar. Why? Because when I swap back to it, it's going to get that extra spell damage buff from dual wield. I haven't even ranked it up yet, and it's still that powerful. So you're going to swap back. It's going to go boom, reapply it, go back to your single target bar. Another buff we're going to want to maintain, Merciless Resolve, 20-second duration, Assassin's Will. Gives you minor berserk. It's fantastic, 8%. The trick is you're going to get one Assassin's Will in 20 seconds. Don't continue to recast this all the time. I see people doing this all the time. You basically want to light weave, get one Assassin's Will, fire it, let it go the full duration, then recast it. The best way I found to do it is go back to my back bar right as it's about to expire, click it, refresh it, go back to business. Then I have a flex spot, Refreshing Path here. It gives me good movement speed for getting around Maelstrom. Okay self-heal, but if you're going ultra damage, you can go Reaper's Mark on an easy target to kill to get that major berserk plus a nice heal. You can do a lot of different things. Dodge Chance, you could do Harness Magic here. A number of things would be helpful. And then I put Impale on my back bar. Why? Because I get more spell damage, and it hits very, very hard once they're below 25% health. And then I got my Shooting Star, which is the ultimate that I use. A lot of Magic Nightblades are having trouble with Vet Maelstrom Arena. I'd suggest trying out Veil of Blades for damage reduction. Soul Tether is fantastic for healing AoE and a stun. And an underrated skill, Dawnbreaker of Smiting, even for PvE, especially Maelstrom where they have Undead and Daedra. At 100 ultimate cost, you can just vaporize, 5 mobs if they're all stacked up and they're undead. So think about using that. Refreshing Path, though, I don't maintain this as a damage over time. I've tried Twisting Path for damage over time. It doesn't seem to be that much damage worth keeping up. I just use it for a decent self-heal and movement speed. So you can swap that in and out. The reason why is Cripple, you need a target to do it. So if I'm trying to move around the Maelstrom or something else and there's no mob to use this on, I'll go ahead and use that. So that's it. Maintain your 2 dots. You're going to go back to Proxy when it's available. Always maintain this. Siphoning attacks, it's almost a no-brainer in a Magic Nightblade. 15 seconds, it's going to give you resources. And then Impale when it's low. And that's the changes. As far as champion points go, like I said, I follow Asari's guide. And that is 58 in Elfborn, 70 into Element Expert, 9 into Spell Erosion. and then 30 into Thulm. Gilliam has a really good guide on this too. He's working on making, going into CP a lot more in detailed depth. So we'll be waiting for that. Still the same CP on the right and the left. Okay, so that's the PvE Magic Nightblade. PvP Magic Nightblade is just brutal. I mean, it's just absolutely murking stuff. A lot of people are using Vicious Death or Clever Alchemist. I have a one-shot Willy build that I still use in PvP today. So I'm not going to go into this. I'm going to link that build in the description. I want you to click on that because that's where I go into it very, very detailed. But you can use Clever Alchemist or Vicious Death or both even. And there's some tricks that you can use, like a 5-piece Vicious Death on dual wield, and then a 5-piece Clever Alchemist or Julianos or something, and then even Molag Kina to get just absurd amount of damage. And the skills you're going to be using is just basically simple stuff. You're going to leap in with Lotus Fan here. You're going to use Concealed Weapon to blow up a single target, but really you're timing your burst with Proxy Detonation, Soul Tether. You're trying to get those things to hit at the same time, killing one target instantly. It's not exactly that easy, but you're taking advantage of the Shadowy Disguise. Instead of Dark Cloak, you want Shadowy Disguise for the guaranteed crit chance. Popping that right before as you go in, and boom, things will die. I got destroyed by a Magic Nightblade that, I mean, it was pretty impressive. He came in, blew up me, and like 6 people standing around me. So check out that build. We went detailed in that. So let's go talk about Stamina Nightblades, what's changed and what I'm doing on them. Okay, I'm on my Magic Argonian here, which is basically converted into Stamina. I like my Argonian now, and the reason why is the 12% magic, health, and stamina back up a potion gives me a flood of useful resources. So what I have done here is turn this guy into a bow build, or a bowtard, whatever you want to call it, because bow is really useful now, specifically Bombard. Bombard is going to basically, boop, immobilize them and reduce their movement speed. So when you're using retreating maneuvers now, you're basically free to move, removes the roots, 30% movement speed, but if you heal or do damage, guess what? It's taking you out of it. So if you're trying to stop other Zergs or huge PvP groups, there's nothing better than just doing a Bombard Bowtard spam right behind them. They're going to separate, and then you can pick off 1 or 2 targets at a time, start whittling them down, boom, kill them. I have Mass Hysteria on this bar because oftentimes I'm going to get jumped on my bow bar, and so this is going to stun them, get them off me. Shuffle, it's just incredible. What can you say with it? If you do Shuffle along with the dodge roll, the haste to retreat movement speed, this is your get out of dodge thing right here. So you're going to use that, boom, dodge roll, that 30% movement speed real quick, and get out of dodge. Okay, and then I have Snipe. Yes, I know I'm using Snipe. And why am I using Snipe? It's useful. I mean, frankly, it's useful. You can get the more lethal arrow, which gives you a healing reduction on your target, allowing you to kind of go in, close the gap, and kill them. So I like the lethal arrow for PvP. You can also go Poison Injection as well, or Arrow Barrage for a massive AoE, especially if you're fighting in keeps. And then I have Resolving Vigor on my bow bar. And the reason I have it on my bow bar is a lot of times I get jumped here and by fellow Nightblades. And a Nightblade's almost always going to jump me and then do Mass Hysteria to me. So I'm going to have to counter that with a CC break, and then immediately I hit Resolving Vigor. And the reason I do that is to do the champion point system here. So the champion points, you get the Unchained. Reduce the stamina cost of abilities by 80% for 3 seconds after breaking basically all that stuff. So it's basically a free way to counteract getting jumped or ganked by someone else. So as soon as they jump me, I know they're going to fear me. Boom, CC break, Vigor, it's almost free. And then I check out my other abilities. If I need to refresh Shuffle, I'll use that 3-second opportunity to do so. Now the ultimate that you want to use. Well, Mage's Guild, Shooting Star, it's annoying to get hit with it, I know, but it can't be reflected. It has a monster range. It does good damage even on a stand build, but it's a ranged ability that you don't have to be up close and personal to do. So for this build, I'm using it kind of for group play, stopping Zergs, slowing them down, isolating 1 or 2 targets, and killing them. So what I like to use this for is to shoot it in the middle of their Zerg, boom, stun them, pop them up, and then bombard them, slowing them down, immobilizing them, separating them, killing them. So you can use a bunch of different things. If you're going to want to do the ganker build, swap Flawless Dawnbreaker on here. Take out Bombard, use Poison Injection. Take out Resolving Vigor for a full crazy bow build, and use Camo Hunter. Now, you will nuke a target doing a Camo Hunter Poison Injection. Boom, you will. But you're going to have a lot less group utility. And then my 200 bar, I still like it for Rally. A massive, massive self heal. I go Shadowy Disguise for the guaranteed crit chance. Of course, good old surprise attack. Using Shadowy Disguise into a surprise attack to stun them. Executioner once they get low. Ambush, jumping in. So the combo I usually use, Ambush, Cloak, boom, Dawnbreaker on a big group of vampires. And that will nuke them down pretty good. So, I mean, most of the stuff stayed the same. Champion points pretty much the same. But the gear has changed significantly. And oh boy, let me tell you about this gear setup that I found and love. Eternal Hunt. If you look at it, max stamina, max stamina recovery. When you dodge, you leave behind a ruin that does 9,000 damage and immobilizing them for 1.5 seconds. It does say poison damage. Why is that beneficial? Champion points, mighty. Poison damage. So this thing can hit very, very hard. That's what it looks like. This is so useful for you little rollers out there that want to dodge roll and get away from everyone. And let me put my food back on. So with my food and let's see what I'm at. 2,400 stamina recovery. If I kill someone or use a potion, I'm almost at 3k stamina recovery and 3k weapon damage. Now I'm not bursting people down like a magic Nightblade, but I can get away and survive a lot better. And also the other 5 piece I'm using is Marksman Crest. Reduce the stamina cost of abilities by 5%, increasing your bow damage against players by 8. I don't use it so much for the bow damage abilities. What I use it for is the recovery and the 5% reduced cost. Combining these two makes you a stamina just juggernaut. I mean, I'm not even a Bosmer, I'm not even a Redguard, and I have this much stamina recovery. So it's very, very nice for those roller builds like this. Trying to get away from a Zerg, doing your thing. You know, oh, I'm the annoying Nightblade. Yes, I am. And putting your little green circles of death down. Now, if you really want to do good with the Nightblade Ganker build, you're going to jump in, do your little combo, and then what I like to do is dodge roll through the opponent. So then what's going to happen is I dodge roll through them, look back at them. What are they going to do? They're automatically going to back up. Bang! They get hit with that poison damage, put pressure on them, finish them. Is this build the highest producing damage for a Stam Nightblade? Absolutely not. Is this build the best solo build? No. Is it the best group build? No. But it's fun and it takes down Zergs. So slowing them down, separating them, distance, shooting star, blowing them up. If anything, try out the Eternal Hunt set. It is fantastic for Stam Nightblade or any Stam builds, that fact. And then Marksman. Eternal Hunt's 9 trait craftable Thieves Guild area. Marksman is from PvP. You can sell them or buy them at stores. Also, this 5 and 5 piece combo is awesome for a no CP campaign. Look at the stamina recovery. If you like the no CP campaigns, I'm telling you, this is a juggernaut. Try it out. And I've heard this no CP campaigns are actually quite fun. Haven't done it myself, but my friend Gil runs the same setup, and it works very well. So that's the Stam Nightblade. Now, PvE Stam Nightblade, what am I running? I'm running the Night Silence, Night Mother's Gaze, excuse me. It reduces armor. And so what I do on the bow, I use both bow. I use 2 bows. I have one for AoE and one for single target. So my single target abilities will look like this. I'll do Poison Injection, then I'll have Bombard or Acid Spray, then I'll have Arrow Barrage, and then I'll have good old Razor Caltrops. And then surprisingly, this is a lot of DPS AoE for a bow. You're going to lay down Arrow Barrage, Caltrops, and then just spam Bombard. If you're going to do PvE specifically, go with the other morph, Acid Spray. PvP, I like Bombard. And then your single target, you're going to do good old Snipe, Lethal Arrow, or Focused Aim. Focused Aim gives you a nice armor debuff. Lethal Arrow gives you a dot for the poison status effect. And that's going to be your main single target spammable ability. And then Poison Injection is going to be the dot you're going to want to maintain. And then you're also going to maintain Relentless Focus. I don't use an execute really because Killer's Blade doesn't seem to scale very well. And then you're also going to be using siphoning attacks. Now you notice I don't have my major brutality, so I'm going to use weapon power potions. Get that weapon power. Also, I like Camo Hunter. For those that are having problems with maintaining resources, try the other ability out. But Camo Hunter is very good to start because you can start a PvE round, get them knocked down, boom, and hit them like almost 60,000. I've showed you guys before in previous videos. So try that. You're going to also do Soul Harvest. If you want to get tons and tons of ultimate, go put Soul Harvest in your main kill bar. And then Meteor, Veil Blades if you want more damage reduction on your back bar. And it's actually doing quite a bit of damage. We did ICP the other day. I wasn't the highest producing damage, but single target wise I could hang in there. And AoE is a little bit suffering, but I don't have Proxy Dead and I'm on a magic build with SAP, but it's still enough to be viable. So the gear that I'm running, I don't have on this guy, but I'm running 5-piece Night Mother's Gaze. That over Hunting's Rage works for me. The reason why, it gives you so much armor reduction. It's almost double what the tooltip says. So on top of that, your tank or you can run Piercing Mark or Reaper's Mark, reducing their physical damage, or physical resistance. Also, the more focused aim is going to reduce it by the minor, another 1,000 or so. So you're just stripping the targets of almost 100% armor, allowing you to do a lot of damage. Also, the 2-piece set, you can use an Orioneth. It also does pretty good for stamina builds as well. If you don't have that or you don't have the Maelstrom bow, best in slot, that's okay. Craft a 3-piece Hunting's Rage. 5-piece Night Mother's Gaze, 3-piece Hunting's Rage, and then jewelry, I would go with the Agility set. It's still very valuable. And the 5-piece Marksman set with 5-piece Night Mother's Gaze could be really valuable for those that don't have a lot of CP or don't have the Orion set. So think about trying that in there as well. The stamina recovery is very important, especially with an Argonian, since I don't have a stamina recovery benefit like a Khajiit or something like a Bosmer or a Redguard. So I really, really like that. And bow stamina is still competitive. PvP is still competitive. I'm not the best at it, but I still can do okay in PvP. And it's all about that bombard. Trust me, you're going to get some hate whispers bombard spanning, like I have. And so that is basically the Nightblade. There's some good Nightblade tanks out. Gil's been running his. The Baraha's Curse, along with the Leeching set. You can do a Juggernaut self-healing Nightblade tank. I haven't perfected mine yet, so I'm not going to post on it. But if you like the Nightblade, still continue to like the Nightblade. You can do a really effective dodge roll build in PvP, and your magic builds are just absolutely incredible, both of them. So Nightblade, I still like it. All right, now on to the Templar. So some things have changed, talked about it in the build previews video, and stamina kind of got a buff with a couple different abilities. So let's go over that first. Mainly stamina still is the same. You can see all the things I've tested out and all the builds that I've been working on. But Aurora Javelin, this is the magic morph, 28 meters, and now the stamina morph is 28 meters as well. Very strong, hits very hard, burning light. You're seeing a lot of stam builds. They were already running it. It's a must-have now. Radial Sweep, still don't use it, incorporate it in my builds, is not as powerful. But something that a lot of people are not running, in PvP specifically, is Unstable Core. We get Unstable Core here and read the tooltip. 8936, excuse me. And you place it on an enemy for 6.5 seconds. They can't see a C break out of it like the other morph, and it blows up. This is kind of like a curse for Templars. And so in PvP, my build looks like what I'm running right here. Toppling Charge, a Gap Closer, Puncturing Sweeps, AoE, single target, Dark Flare, you know it or hate it or love it, a healing debuff. It hits incredibly hard and gives you an Empower. And then I have good old Jesus Beam. Yes, I know. And then Dawbreaker of Smiting. Low cost, conal, hits in front, and just destroys stuff. Back bar, I have Proxy Detonation, which is extremely strong. Skill target AoE. Channel Focus, Repentance, a Knockback, Javelin, and then, of course, good old Breath of Life. And then Shooting Star if I want to do a range knockback stun. And how I'm using this essentially is, knocking down an enemy, doing some sweeps, and then when my ultimate's ready, I'm setting it up one of two ways. I want to first do a Dark Flare to make sure they're healing debuffed, and then also for the Empower. So I'm trying to empower my Dawnbreaker of Smiting, but I want it so they're stunned first. So typically what I'll do is put pressure on them, get in their face, use some sweeps, and they'll dodge roll back, or depending on what happens. And then I'm going to Dark Flare them when I get an opportunity. Remember, it's a cast. Someone can bash this against you. Once they're healing debuffed, I have my ultimate up. I toppling charge in, so I backpedal just a little bit, create space, toppling charge, entropy, smiting, and then good old Jesus Beam. This has been produced a lot of results, but you're not as tanky as you're doing it if you're doing it with the sword and board, and you put Breath Life on this bar, and then structured entropy, you take that off for Radiant. That's also a very, very strong build. But in PvP, that's what I'm liking. What I've been using gear-wise is good old Dragonknights. There is a couple new sets that are very, very awesome. Very awesome, that's a terrible way to say it. That are good. That are really good. One, Vicious Death. I don't like it on my Magic DK, but I do like it on my Templar. The reason why is the Templar excels just incredibly at destroying one target. So the way I set this up is I'm not running Repentance. I will use the, where is it? I was already on it. Unstable Core. I'll focus down one target in the middle of a bunch of targets. The reason why, I want to proc that Vicious Death. So I've been using 5-piece of Dragonknight or Spell Power Cure for group. And then I use 5-piece Vicious Death. So it's jewelry, weapons, and then a 2-piece either Molag Kina for Super Burst, Engine Guardian, something like that. I like 5 light, 2 medium, all M-Pen. So the objective here is just to nuke one target in the middle of a bunch of other ones. So I set it up with an Unstable Core. I proxy that myself. And then, remember, the proxy that's 8 seconds. This is 6.5. So you can time both these things to go off at once. Where's my little Horker there? Oh, there's a little Horker. So the objective here is, so you do that, you toppling charge in, and then right as proxy goes off, so does Eclipse. And boy, does it hit hard. So that's the way you're trying to time that. Make sure you're getting a Dark Flare off as well. And then sweeps. So if I'm playing small group, I do like to have the Javelin knockback. If I'm playing groups, I like spears. Dragonknight still seems to be really good in PvP with Impenetrable for light armor builds. For PvP on Stam Templar, I'm using Hunding's Rage, or Eternal Hunt is really nice in the marksman setup. But I still like Hunding's Rage for a lot of damage. I can just still nuke stuff. Another thing that's also benefited Stam Templar builds in PvP is Focus. Focus now gives you Major Mending. Where is it at? Major Mending. So a lot of Templars are running Purifying Ritual or Extended Ritual, getting that huge bonus to healing, and then Breath of Life. So the whole "it's get in my house" joke, you know, Eric Roll will shout out, that's actually very, very effective. So you can either use Channel Focus for magic regen or just use Purifying Ritual. So if we just do this, Breath of Life, 17.1k, really? That's critting for 10k, 17k, okay. We get our house down, and then 12.8k from 10k, 25%. I know, math's good. But it has a heal over time, which is useful, and it has a big duration, big radius. And if you walk out of it, you're still going to get that benefit for a while. So that's been really effective. So the whole house joke build thing, sword and board, you're going to see a lot of Templars blocking, Breath Life, spamming, and just trying to nuke people down there. Okay, so Vicious Death, 5-piece, Dragonknight has been really good. PvE, what am I using? So PvE healing, I'm using 5-piece Spell Power Cure. PvE healing, another 5-piece you can get now is Worm Cult. Worm Cult is the set that reduces magic costs for everyone in the group up to 12. And you can actually get the jewelry, weapons, and or head and shoulders. And that's from the new trial, normal mode. What is it? Mauve Lorcage. So I don't have that yet. That's why I haven't made the build video. But that's the ideal setup that I want to run. Because you're getting a buff to your allies for healing, huge weapon and spell damage increase, and you're also getting a massive buff to everyone's casting. Even tanks have to cast. It's useful for everyone in the group. So if you can rock a 5-piece Spell Power Cure, a 5-piece Worm Cult in today's patch, you will be healing every single dungeon and trial because everyone's going to want you on the team. PvP healers out there, well, you got a good, nice new set here. It's Transmutation. So Magic Recovery crit, when you heal an ally over time, grants them a lot of resistance to crit for 2 seconds. So you can maintain this 100% of times. And remember that heal over time can be a bunch of different things. I mean, most everyone's going to think of good old rapid regen right here. But heal over time, you might even get this to proc off of healing springs. And guess what's a heal over time? Well, Purifying Ritual or Ritual. Lingering Rebirth here has a heal over time after you cast it, even though I don't use it a whole lot. And it's actually pretty effective burst heal now, especially for AoE since it's 10-meter radius. So you're seeing a lot of people do clap heal or lingering ritual. So that has been an effective combo for PvP healers, using Spell Power's Cure or Warm Cold and a 5-piece transmutation. Or transmutation? Did I say it right? I said it right. Yeah, woot. Because you can almost get to the 3,300 impenetrable cap with all impen gear, making you really, really tanky. Okay. So PvP, PvE, DPS, what am I liking? The same old setup. I like the good old Julianos 5-piece. I don't do Kina. I usually do a 4-piece Magnus or a 4-piece Seducers, depending on my race. So Magnus, I do the head and shoulders, and then I do the swords, Magnus. Gives me recovery, max magic, and spell damage. Is this best in the slot? Absolute most damage in the world? No. But it's a good setup that has gotten me through every content in the game except Vet Maul of Lorcage. And it will help you get through Maelstrom if that's your goal. So 5-piece Julianos, 4-piece Magnus, and then Willpower Jewelry. So champion points wise, you could do a Dark Flare barrel or you can do a sweeps build. Now, I don't know the optimal way to spec your Templar for the absolute most single damage possible. But just so you know, Dark Flare, it scales off of magic, right? So you get a bonus here, Elemental Expert. Now, Puncturing Sweeps is considered damage over time and is considered magic damage. That's what makes Puncturing Sweeps so strong this patch, is it double dips in champion points and or effectiveness. So it's hitting a lot harder. If you want just an easy setup, do a 3-way split between Thaumaturge, Elemental Expert, and Elfborn. And I usually go with the Thief, Mundostone, or the Shadow. And that's worked for me. Dumber is very, very good this patch because a lot of people, almost everyone's going to be running Reflective Light or Vampire's Bane. Purifying Light is very good, but the Juggernaut bread and butter is Elemental Blockade. And Dunmer passive, actually, performance-wise, if you're trying to get the maximum amount of DPS out, actually this patch, Dunmer is the best. Because most of your stuff is coming from fire damage. Vampire's Bane, Elemental Blockade, Shooting Star. All this stuff scales off this. Sweeps, no, but a majority of your DPS is coming from fire. Even your light attack weaving or heavy attack weaving with your staff scales off of this. So, that's what's going on with the Templar. I think I covered everything. Templar tanking, I still don't enjoy it. I still don't like it. When I have done it before, though, I use the other Morph of Blazing Spear. And then I'm using sweeps, the Empowerment Sweeps for damage reduction. I'm also laying down my house with Extended Ritual over this, and then Restoring Focus, Repentance, Taunt, and I am tankier than all get out. I don't have the mitigation that say, I have a mitigation like almost over everyone, but I don't have the utility, like with Chains and Talons. So that's why I haven't been really playing a whole lot. A lot of tanks are still using the same 5 and 5 setup. Footmen's, even though it's VR14, still really powerful, and then Armor Master with 1 armor ability on, and that's usually, obviously, your evasion for your dodge chance. So a hip way to do the tank now, regardless of your Templar or whatever, is Tava's Blessing. It gives you ultimate for dodging an attack. So a lot of people are running either Footman's or something else, and then Tava's Blessing with the evasion skill, and what they're trying to do is Warhorn. Having Warhorn up almost all the time. Once this is maxed out, you can get this to last 30-some seconds. So, hopefully you're dodging enough attacks with a 20%, more mobs round, that you can get up Warhorn almost all the time, making a tank actually super, super powerful. because of the amount of damage that Warhorn does. And the magic health, magic, stamina is just good in aggressive Warhorn crit damage. So that's an interesting way to do the tank. But the Templar, overall, I will be doing more in-depth guides and builds on it later, but I just need the gear. I need more practice showing some vicious death clips in PvP. It's really strong. I still think my magic DK is a lot tankier than my Templar, but that might just be my specific build. So if you like range DPS with the power to get up in your face and blow your face off, this is a good bet. But it's still nowhere near as powerful as the magic Nightblade, though I do love it. Okay, we're on to the Sorky Porky, and good news, if you like the Sorky Porky, you're still going to like it. It is absolutely freakishly powerful. I think it has one of the lower sustained magic DPSs, but it's easy, it's fun, and it's really good with Blockade of Fire. Yep, you guessed it. So for magic Sorks, Elemental Blockade, and you're going to want to put that in your rotation along with Liquid Lightning. So you might have the double bar Destruction Staff. And that's kind of what I've been doing, having a dot build here on my dual, my one staff. Going back to my other staff if I want to use Impulse for AoE, or just setting up something similar to this. You can also use dual wield with Energy Overload for a massive amount of damage if you want to keep your bar swapping to a minimum. Okay, so Proxy Debt, that scales off of magic now instead of Elemental. So Elemental got moved over. Why is that good for the Sork? Well, let's go to champion points. Elemental Expert. This has shock and it has magic damage. Everything we need. Since now our crystal frags, along with basically everything else we do, including elemental, overload, everything is in here now, making it very advantageous for the Sork. So magic DPS Sork is something like what I've always done. Instead, I basically took off Bound Aegis because I just need another ability on here. So I did Blockade of Fire, Sea Frags here, Liquid Lightning, Force Pulse. Now, if you're going to do spamming, if you're going to be spamming Impulse, which you can, then you go double Destro. If you want a high single target DPS, you're going to go dual wield for the extra spell power, have your Mage's Fury, and then your Energy Overload here. And then you don't need Healing Word for protection. You can just use Hardened Word. You're also going to maintain your Proxy Debt on your back bar, and then your buff. And here you have a flex spot, so you can do whatever you want with this spot. The reason you want dual wield in your back bar is 8 seconds. It's going to be very important you use this. And then you're going to want to recast it every 8 seconds. And then remember that the damage you do for Proxy Debt is scaled off of what bar it is when it casts, when it blows up. So if I have dual wield on and I cast it here, it takes into account when it blows up what bar you're on, what's your stats. So you look here, see I have a little bit more on my Destruction Staff, so it's going to blow up when I hit that. So make sure you do that, and that's kind of the PvE DPS Sork. Now some people are using pets, and they're very effective. The Winged Twilight is a big fan for some people. I don't like it, don't like using pets, but they are viable, and maybe I'll do a Necromancer build someday. Just not my thing right now, so I'm not going to do it. Actually, Sork tanking is pretty good too due to this little pet. I get the skill points for it. Where's the heal? Yeah, I think they both heal now. That one. Once summons, you can activate the clan for your special ability to heal. So the nice thing about this is now is you activate it, cast, and you go around, you click it, it doesn't go away. It just heals, making it really handy. And in fact, you can heal the group and have a decent pet build that is actually really good healing with the Summon Twilight as well. So Sork healers, Sork tanks out there are actually getting a big boost due to these pets. So that's kind of interesting to see. Okay, so now a lot of people love PvP on their Sorks. If you love PvP on your Sork, it's still freaky powerful. It really has not gone anywhere. You're going to use the combo that everyone does. Where's old Curse at? Did I even not know where Curse is? Should be, there we go. I don't have him unlocked. Probably because I don't PvP on this guy much. So the combo that I've been seeing to be effective is what people were using back in the day, and that's Smiting Dawnbreaker. So the goal here in PvP on my Magic Sork, my back bar is just the same. Healing Word, Hardened Word, Proxy Debt, Harness Magicka, the same cheesy Sorc that you either love or hate. Let's get that healing word on here. Let's get that Harness Magicka, my 15 wards and Proxy Debt. And you can use Power Surge or Entropy. So the thing you're trying to do here is you're trying to streak through everyone. You're going to have your curse on someone. You're going to have Proxy Debt available with your buff up. You're going to streak through them. Why? Because it drops their block. You're trying to time up your curse, your Proxy Debt. You're stunning them. You turn back right where you go. You hit Inner Light. Why? Because now it's not toggleable. Now you look how my little staff glows. Why? It's empowered. Empowered now. And you can do it just with hitting your Inner Light. Let's see how hard I can hit. I don't even have any jewelry on. That derp. See, I have so much jewelry. Oh, let's put a Winterborn. Oh, yes, best set in the game. I tried Ice Sorc, guys. I tried it once. I was trying the Winterborn sets. Do you guys think I do things out of the box once in a while? But if it doesn't work out, I don't post it. So the Winterborn Sorc was a fail. Let's go see if we can't hit someone. Just blow them up real quick. Here's a little dude. Come on. Okay. So let's see if I can't time this here. Get my wards up. Proxy Debt. It's 8 seconds. Ward is, I think, around a few. Streak through. Or get stunned. Turn back around. And Dawnbreaker. That's the combo you want to use that will nuke people. And Kina if you got it. And blow up. So, I suck at it. But some people don't. And I've got my face blown off for it. So what I've been using gear-wise is still the same old setup. The Elemental or the Succession set is pretty good. And a lot of people are finding Scathing Mage to be very powerful to combine with it or in some aspects. But the main setup I've been using that's working is Infused Julianos. The reason I use Infused is for the Max Magic. Max Magic in the wards. Make it so I don't really have to have any healing because I just have so much magic and power that way. And I can get up to about 47,000 magic once I'm optimally spec'd. And then Molag Kina, 5-1-1. Just because the Overload Overkill combo on boss rounds is just too powerful to give up. For PvP, you can use that. Vicious Death is also a great set since you can single target and nuke something down and have high mobility. The thing about Magic Sorcs and PvP is you can get away. With the retreating maneuvers change, it's just hard to get away and play solo unless you get zerged down by 12 people. Magic Nightblades, Magic Sorcs can do it very, very well. Stand builds can do it as well, but man, Sorcs are still really good. How do you counter a Sorc? Use the Shield Breaker set that comes in IC. If you hate the shield stacking Sorcs, you can counter it that way. You can also do some more champion point counters. Where is it? Shattering Blows. Increase your damage against targets with the damage shield. So if you hate Sorcs that I'm showing off here, you can blow me up by doing that. Okay? Alright, so that's Magic Sorc, gear. PvP, I'd use a 5-set Vicious Death, 5 Julianos, all infused. PvE, I like 5 Julianos infused, 2 Molag Kina, Willpower, Maelstrom Staffs. The same typical setup that I've always been using. Because it hasn't really changed that much, except Elemental Blockade. Deltia, what about the Stam Sorc? Well, the Stam Sorc is still the same. You don't have a lot of class-specific abilities to use that are fun. In fact, you don't really have any that are Stam-based besides your little lightning form. But you do still have Crit Surge, which is a powerful self-heal. What I'd like to say about Stam Sorc is, first of all, they need some love. And it's just not as fun to play for me in comparison to a DK or a Templar stamina. It just lacks. But it does not lack in self-healing. If you like self-healing, and you just want to press your one button in a group, Steel Tornado, or you want to do Wrecking Blows to people's faces and Crit Surge and Crit Rush, it's great because you can self-heal and survive a very, very long time. But I would like for the kit to be updated on the Stam Sorc. So if you're going to still do Stam Sorc, your highest producing damage ability will still be Rapid Strikes over Wrecking Blow. You're going to want to use Rapid Strikes, and you're probably going to want to use Rending Slash as your dot, along with your class-specific damage over time, Boundless Storms, a stamina version. Caltrops, you're going to use a Bow, Scorched Earth, or Arrow Barrage. It's pretty much hasn't changed in that terms. So I wish this damn Sorc would get a little updated, but, you know, it is what it is. I've deleted mine. I will go back to it, but the changes right now, there's just really nothing to entice me to go back and play it until, you know, we get something specific. Something specific that I think would be really cool is the other Morpho Crystal Frags, Crystal Blast. Make that a stam-based ability, kind of like Snipe, and you can make a really cool bow Sorc build. Because otherwise the Sorc stam is just going to be underperforming in terms of PvE. And PvP they're very good, but you just don't see a lot of people playing them because they're not a whole lot of fun anymore, in my opinion. My opinion. So, that's what I think about the Sorcs. Well, gang, here we are, trying to get these builds updated before Baby D comes out of the womb into the world to, terrorize Tamriel, or help it, one of the two. So, I still like my builds. I got some EP characters, I got some DC, I got some AD, and I've been playing with basically everyone in the PC community. PS4, Xbox, it's hard to get on there just because I'm working on so many builds that I just can only have so much time in the day. Basically, with this patch in the Thieves Guild, what I can say to you is magic seems really strong, but it still lacks mobility, except for magic Sorcs and Nightblades. Stamina, the AoE is a little bit lacking in comparison to the proxy det magic builds. It's still very valuable in PvP for the mobility, dodge roll, retreating maneuvers, vigor. Play what you like. Play what you like. If you like a Magic Templar, play Magic Templar. If you're an Orc DK and you want to play Magic, do it. Spend more time learning your class, learning from other good players, gathering information, and tuning your build, and stop worrying so much about the race. I've seen players that were way better than me with non-optimal races. It comes down to the player, not the race. Speaking of that, if you didn't know, ESO is having a double XP weekend, I think, pretty soon. I will post it in the description, the link for that. So if you are looking at getting back in, leveling up a character, it is kind of a pain. But with double XP, you can almost get 170% XP with a scroll, being married to someone, so it should be a lot easier. Until then, we'll see you in Cyrodiil. Don't kill me.